So, what are you birthing? Jan Paderewski, the famous, well-known piano player, always picked the same hotel when he would perform during the season at Carnegie Hall. And so he was playing, and about 3 days into it, a woman kept hearing him, and she had just had enough. And so she went to the hotel manager, and she said, "This is ridiculous. There's some guy across the hall playing some kind of tin can piano, and it's very annoying, and if you don't get him to stop, then I'm going to have to leave. This is ridiculous." And the hotel manager was kind of taken back, and he said, "Well, ma'am," he said, "I need you to know the guy you're referring to is the famous Paderewski, and he's here to perform at Carnegie Hall." She said, "Oh my, well, I'm a musician too." Oh my God, I had no idea. Please don't tell him that I said anything. And so the next morning and the next morning and the morning thereafter, she opened up her hotel room and she invited all her friends over for coffee as they listened to Paderewski rehearse. What changed? Did the hotel change? Did his playing change? She changed. You see, when you work with what you are birthing, it requires you to change. It requires you to allow an unfoldment of what is lying dormant in your energetic field. Change is necessary. And the more and the quicker you make peace with the word change in your life, the more that your life will be so vibrant that people will come up to you all the time and say, "Gosh, you don't age a bit." And I go, "You bet I don't." It's about change. It's about allowing. It's like Albert Einstein said, "For me to be who I'm supposed to be, I must let go of who I think I am. I must let go of who I think I am." And then Mark Twain came along and said that there's two important days in your life: the day you were born and the day that you discovered why. But what's important for you as a spirit is to understand that your why will change many times. Many times. It's not like, "Oh, I got a certificate on my wall. I know why. My why is accomplished. Oh, look at me." Your why is evolutionary. Your why is always evolving. It's not a name tag. It's more than a business card. It's more than a website or anything else. It's forever changing with you if you allow it. Likened to someone saying that some people live 100 years and other people live 1 year 100 times. You see, it's when we're coming into the season of Jesus being born that is most noted throughout our society as one of the most significant times in our world. We would say that the second or third or most important significant time is what is being born within you. That was the whole point, to set an example, to pave the way, to show you how it could be done. Not so you would spend the rest of your life trying to be just like him, but so you would model the great attributes that you were able to accomplish within your own being. As long as you worship something that's so far-fetched from you, more than likely you will never unfold and allow those attributes or something better to come within your own life. You must get excited about the potential of what is possible in that, and let that happen and unfold in your life. And it requires will. It requires the power of will. Because if you want to change the way your body looks and you want to work out, will requires you to get in the car and drive down to the gym. Not just have a picture of it on your refrigerator, but you got to go move something. You got to have some will. You got to have some energy. You got to complain a little bit about it hurting. You know, my mother and I work out in the gym together. She says, "Well, do you ever hurt?" And I said, "Every time I do it." But the power of will keeps you showing up. The power of will helps you say no to addiction. The power of will helps you be strong and future see something that is yet to be seen. That is what it is all about. In Scripture, one of my favorite scriptures is in Job 22:28. And it says, you will decide upon a matter and it will be established for you. What does it tell us? That it is imperative that you decide first. You will decide upon a matter and it will be established for you. It's a guaranteed law. But when you're going, I don't know, I can't figure out how it's going to happen, who's going to help me, I don't know, I feel so confused, I don't know, and all of this stuff. But when you stand in the space and you step up forward and you say, I have made a decision here, then all of the people and the players and the pieces of the puzzle that have just been waiting for you to say, I have decided to do this, then bam, here it comes, and it all just unfolds and it all falls in place because it's waiting. The universe is waiting on your decision. Do you resonate with this? So decide upon what it is. Decide on what it looks like for you. I recall a few years ago that, people would call me and ask me, how did all of you do what you do, your community, and you have kids, and how did you do that, and how can you be, unity and have Science of Mind people there, and, I'm like, excuse me, all these different, very significant questions. I'm not making fun. I'm just saying that I started seeing something like urging or nudging, or there was something, that was being called. And just time would go on, and then another person would call and ask me a question, or would you come and would you teach our board and would you do these kind of things? And it was just like the energy kept coming. And more I would hear stories of how people went through such hardship just to get their license, this letter that says, you can now be a leader. We don't need to make it hard for people. Owning up to it is hard enough. Are you kidding me? Being willing to stand in front of the room and say you stand for something, that takes a lot of courage. The last thing they need is for us to put them through a 5-year plan. Oh my gosh, we want to keep people excited, meet them at the level that they are, let them go out and get started. I don't know about you, but as long as I see a child going hungry, somebody needs to get started. As long as I see people suffering and broke, we need more leaders to be out there and getting started. We need the energetic presence. We need families. I did a radio show on going into Black Friday, and I said, I don't want to talk about the Black Friday of going shopping. I want to talk about the Black Friday of the cloud that's hovering over our nation, that every day 126 people take their lives. We have work to do. So if you want to be a spiritual leader, we don't need to make it hard and make you jump through a lot of hoops. How far and how fast can we get you going? But then I said, after I said all that to myself, I said, I can't believe that I'm going to agree to something else. I have a full life already. What about it? And I go out to the water. I won't ever forget that day. I went out to the water last September, right there in front of my home and the water, and I said, are you kidding me? I mean, that's a great statement to say to God. Are you kidding me? You want me to create some kind of institute or teaching model? What? Okay, here's the thing. I decide, just like I just told you. I will decide upon a matter. I said, okay, I'm deciding that I will do it. And I need to see some kind of answers. That's a lot of smart people are going to come and join me. And 2 weeks later, there was an appointment previously already had been made with a woman that came in and sat down, and she was talking to me about how complicated in most New Thought systems, it is for people to get licensed and to get ordained. And she was talking about this, and I said, how would you like to be part of doing something uniquely different? And thus that day came of a friendship with Dr. Aileen Curtin, and the rest is history. The rest is history, yeah. And everybody thereafter, you see, has come forward, has moved forward, has said something. So what is longing to be birthed within you? What is it that has been knocking on your door and your heart? Go back and look at some of the conversations and the people and the experiences, because it's put in your heart for a reason. It's a covenant for it to come true. But if you get caught up in minutia, in details, before you make the decision, make the decision. I will decide upon a matter. Practice with me. I will decide upon a matter. And so when you decide, then be attentive, because the doors open up. People come forward. Anytime you think it has much to do with you, you're already in the clouds. Because there is a greater plan for all of our lives that are longing to be birthed and to be born. And so you think about that bigger idea. If your teenagers are complicated right now, it's designed so that you can create programs for parents in the future that know how to cope with that and get on the other side of it. Anything that's happening in your life is wanting to be birthed, a new concept, an opportunity, a something for you to share. And it's all there on the collective. Nothing is hard. It's our belief that it's hard that makes it hard. And by the way, what are you going to be doing anyway? I mean, we can only go eat at so many restaurants and hang out and tell each other how much we like each other. I mean, there's so much more to be done. If not you, who? If not you, who? And when, if not now? Then this time for that particular energy to be born. I love this story. It's one of my favorite. And yes, I do recall, I've told it before. How's that? So there's a story of a beggar, a homeless man, that he's walking along, and at the king's castle, there's a sign that says, everyone's invited to the party that can wear royal attire. Everybody is invited. And so the man, he just has this thought. He decides on this matter that he deserves to be there. And so he goes and he knocks at the gate, and the guard comes and he says, I'd like to talk to the king. So the king comes and he says, Sir, I want to come to your party. I want to come to this event, but I have no royal attire. And can you help me? And the king says, I have a son that is about your size. I will get him and go, and he will give you a dress. And so here's the homeless guy. He takes off these worn out rags, clothes, and he's dressed in this royal attire. He's looking, he's like, wow, it's amazing. And the man says to him, the son of the king says, this will last you the rest of your life, and you will have it. But all of a sudden, he starts questioning, and he looks down at the rags. Well, what if something happens to what I'm wearing? And he runs and he grabs the rags and he holds them. Holds them. For the rest of his life, he wasn't remembered as the homeless to royal attire. No, he was recognized as the homeless that couldn't let go of his clothes and his rags. And so, what is it that is keeping you held back, that you're clinging on to, of something that you really know? What about the possibility of discovering something within you that is so profound, that is so magical, that you don't know? It will change your life if you will allow your life to change. Thank you for being here. Thank you.